Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for yet another installment in our ongoing new figure showcase series, where we dive in and take a closer look at a recent 6-scale pickup and do a little review so you can get a closer feel for what the final product is, and hopefully you do find it a little bit informative. So I know you probably think I get excited about everything, but this is a figure I've been looking forward to getting in hand for a while now. So we're going to be taking a look at the Present Toys Ellen Ripley, or Flight Officer as they're calling her in that clever third-party way, based on her appearance in the final action sequence in James Cameron's Aliens. But first, a little quick history on this character in 6 scale. First of all, Hot Toys has previously done a version of Ripley from Aliens, although those figures were at this point very outdated, and they were also kits that you had to assemble. Look, for their time, they were some of the most incredible figures you could get. And we also got a power loader, but that was over 15 years ago, so things have come a long way in the 6-scale world. In addition, Hot Toys did give us an updated Ripley from the original Alien that was great. And then they teased a 2.0 Aliens Ripley and power loader at San Diego Comic-Con, but that was years ago, and we haven't seen anything since. So there's been a bit of a gap left if you're an Aliens collector. So in steps Present Toys, and I'll give you some thoughts on that at the end, but it's the most recent version of Ripley, although again, as a third-party company, there is a reduced set of expectations. I'm not expecting Hot Toys quality. If you do, I think you'll end up being disappointed, because with third-party companies, they're just not at the same level. But I wanted an updated version of Ripley, so it was an easy decision for me to get this. And look, Ellen Ripley, one of the most iconic characters, I think, in cinematic history. The evolution of her character from the original Alien to becoming that action hero in Aliens. Lots of credit to Sigourney Weaver and both Ridley Scott and James Cameron, who created two timeless classics in Alien and Aliens. And that final battle scene from Aliens as Ripley searches for Newt in the alien hive, just incredible. So let's take a look at what Present Toys is giving us here. Besides the figure, you're getting a few extra hands, as well as a bag that she can carry that she can carry with some things in it. I think the classic Colonial Marine pulse rifle really stands out, and the flamethrower, and then you do get an alien egg and a face hugger, which is actually a nice addition overall. And you do get this slightly larger base, which normally we wouldn't look at too much, but this is kind of a necessity here because there is a major issue with the figure's ankles, where posability is severely hindered. But a decent set of accessories, although if you're a huge fan of the movie, you're already seeing some items missing, or some inconsistency. So let's jump into those accessories in greater detail, and we'll start with the hands. And you do get a few to hold the weapons in two versions. So you get one set of gloved hands and one set of bare hands. So while you'll see me have the figure with the gloved hands on, if you're going for screen accuracy, during the rescue scene at the end of the movie, Ripley doesn't wear gloves. So just something to keep in mind. The hands are fine, very pliable material though, so gripping the weapons, they're not the strongest. And the molds are fine overall, but just keep that in mind when you're trying to pose the figure with the weapons. Next up, you get this fabric satchel, which is interesting because it is kind of accurate to the movie, and at the same time not. So look, it looks great, nicely weathered with actual fabric straps clipped into metal elements, so it's an added piece for Ripley's gear. But again, in the movie, when she's going down the elevator shaft to prep for Newt's rescue, this pouch gets discarded after she takes out the flares, the grenade shells for the pulse rifle, and the grenade belt. So I'll never complain about extra accessories because they do give you different display options. But if you're, again, looking for super screen accuracy, you'd be done with this in the final display. You can probably tell this is one of my favorite movies of all time just with how nitpicky I'm being. Next up is the flamethrower, and this is impressive. Present Toys got this right from what I can see. From the M16 style handle at the top to the nice olive green along the body of the weapon and the black nozzle that projects below the forward handle. And even the hanging fuel cylinder with the distinctive appearance, just a great reproduction of the weapon. But to me, the star, and something I think most action movie fans recognize, is the pulse rifle that the Colonial Marines use. It's just such a great design, and it does kind of blend current, at least for the time, weaponry with some futuristic stylings, with the very elongated handle at the top and the underslung grenade launcher, all in a nice dry brush silver. And the weapon is heavily weathered too, but has such striking details. You can even see the ammo counter on the side and the very distinctive appearance and detailing along the front of the barrel and the underslung elements. And an added great touch here, they taped on the tracking device that Ripley used to find Newt to the top of the handle. Now granted, again, if you're going for accuracy, it's in the wrong location. It should be at the side of the gun. But look, it's not something I would normally expect from a third-party company at all, right? So the fact that they're doing that and they gave us that piece, I really appreciate it. And then you do get a strap, which I'm going to use to create that look from the end of the movie, where Ripley ties both weapons together to essentially dual wield. But props to Present Toys for this, because it does look great. Next up is the alien egg and the face hugger. It's all good. Biggest criticisms here is the lack of finesse. The mold and sculpt for the egg, for example, actually is really good. And the detailing on the open petals of sort look great too. Kind of with that gruesome pattern. Now in the movie, these are a little less pink, but this works. And the face hugger has some great detail work too, including the lung sacs on the side, the disgusting tail, and so on. And you can actually fit the hugger into the egg to create a look of it emerging, so it's a nice touch as an added bonus. Is the paint the best? No, but it's actually pretty decent for what you're getting. And final accessory is a stand. Now, I normally exclude these unless they're diorama pieces, but I'm showing it here because for a lot of the stances, you will need the figure to use this because the ankle joints are useless. The front of the stand does have the flight officer name on the front, along with images of the alien xenomorphs on either side. And while the top looks like grading, it's just a cardboard cover that's been laid in. Now, let's jump into the figure, and we're going to start with the sculpt. And you know what? It's actually pretty decent. I'm pretty sure this is just a recast of the Hot Toys Ripley from the original Alien movie, but they did mold in the shorter hair. And the hair itself, again, looks pretty solid, with a lot of detailing and some hanging strands creating that disheveled look from Ripley. The eyes are painted well. They aren't as detailed as the Hot Toys ones or some of the bigger brands, but they're serviceable. As for the likeness, I think it's definitely a recast of that original Hot Toys version, down to the slightly parted lips. But I can still see the likeness there, so not bad at all, especially for a third party. Now, looking at the rest of the figure, I think at first you can definitely recognize the look. It's very distinctive with the plain white t-shirt, the aqua blue pants with all the different pockets, and those classic sneakers. And of course, she's pre-equipped with the harness holding the grenade shells and the bandolier with the grenades. So again, at first glance, not bad. It's a very good recreation of the look from the movie. And look, the harness looks fine, although I think you'll start noticing that things seem a tad oversized. Like the grenades and shells look bigger than they should. And I'm happy that they corrected these to a degree. In the original pre-order pics, they all look like shotgun shells, whereas in the movie they're silver with just a small red line. So they definitely improved on it, but it's not exactly right. And then, like I said, everything else looks good. And even the sneakers look good at first, but on closer inspection, you see that they didn't do the Reebok logo. Not surprising at all for third party. And we've seen licensed figures forgo that as well. But what Present Toys did here is they replaced the logo with the Ripley name on it. So that's a good change, I think, but it's a funky detail because on the right sneaker, they just mirrored the text. Maybe to differentiate between left and right. Not sure why they did it, but it's an interesting approach. But again, from a distance, looks very good. One of the biggest issues here, though, is scale. You see Ripley here standing next to the X-06 Captain Leon Shaw and the Hot Toys Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you're immediately taken back by how small she is. So she's in the middle because in real life, Todd Stasswich, who plays Captain Shaw, is apparently 6'2". Sigourney Weaver is actually 6'0", and Ewan McGregor is 5'10". So from a scale perspective, she should be right in line with these guys, and she's not even close. So by herself, I think she's fine. But when you put her in proximity to some of the other figures, the scale is just way off. This is where third party can oftentimes fail. You know that they just got an off-the-shelf body and worked around that, so that's why she's so small. The good thing is, posed up, you can hide it a little bit, especially if you put her on the stand, but it's clearly an issue. The other thing I noticed that a lot of collectors seem to be doing is that they have Ripley with the pulse rifle, and then they have the flamethrower just hanging off the strap from her back, which looks great too, but I do like that distinctive look from the movie where she connects the two weapons so she can carry them together. It's part of that final battle look that I really found appealing, and it's really iconic in my mind. Now, I do have the Hot Toys kit, which is very dated at this point, but I am going to consider seeing if I can add some accessories to this Ripley to get her a little bit more screen accurate. So I might do a video on that later, especially since Aliens is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think we deserve a good Ripley figure. But look, overall thoughts on this one, it's not bad for third party. If this were a Hot Toys figure, I'd be much more annoyed, but for a third-party release, you're getting something pretty decent, with some very clear issues though. Biggest being scale and the ankle joints, but once you pose her up, she does look great. Longevity on the rubber arms is also a concern. Look, Present Toys is banking on nostalgia here, and they got me. But have no doubt that if I were to have an opportunity to get a Hot Toys version, I would jump on picking up a licensed one in a heartbeat. But I don't know if that'll happen, so I would rather have a somewhat decent representation of Ripley instead of none at all. But that's just me. Now let me know your thoughts on this one, and as always, thanks for watching, and if you are enjoying the content, please consider dropping a like, and we'll touch base on the next video.